took a new life.
Every week's
Yeah.
a new life for you, Fran. Good
Well,
morning. Good morning. Good morning.
good morning.
I have a lot of energy today, and it's a very fitting topic. Decluttering your CRM. And, today's my daughter's 5th birthday. So I woke up a little, emotional and just kind of in deep thought, like I'm not in deep thought every other day. And I was thinking about this, right? It's like relationships, right? Decluttering your CRM. And I look at this beautiful child that has so much joy. But what is brought in joy and us closer in the pandemic is the quality of our relationship, right? And how does that go to your CRM? Well, if you have so many different things, what's the quality of the stuff in there, right? So like kids, it's about quality time necessarily, not quantity, right? You could spend a whole day with your son, your daughter, a client, a friend, and be buried in your cell phone versus 15 minutes of being laser focused and present, right? Wouldn't that be very different, right? The greatest gift you can give anyone is your presence, right? So there is going to be no deck today. And Angela, who's on here, I was talking to her before, she goes, I'm going to come on your CRM thing. And I'm like, this is more going to be like a come to Jesus moment for everybody today, right? So look, people, we've been talking a lot for all of us here about this concept of the marathon mindset, right? Like we want to build our businesses because they're a marathon, right? For looking at the screen and most of you, we're all going to be in this business for 20 plus years. So why do we approach it that we're going to live in this business for 5 minutes, right? So like if you look at somebody that's playing the game for a 20-year game versus a person that's playing a game for a 1-year game, the 1-year person might have a few wins, but over time they're going to lose because their moves are not meant to be big enough. The person, that's why people that think bigger always win. Look at Compass and where you are, right? Robert thought bigger than everyone in this industry, and what he accomplished in 8 years is more than most of these companies have accomplished in 100, right? It's why you guys are all here. It's why you guys are all inspired. So we start talking about decluttering your CRM. Number one, and if you guys are taking notes, write this down, is clarity, right? How clear are you as to what or who or how does somebody qualify to be in your CRM? Like, and this is a very interesting concept, right? Because I've done a lot of trainings for Compass and I've sat in on a lot of trainings on this. They're like clarity, like that sounds stupid, right? Yes, Donald, focus equals clarity. So think about this. Every one of these people in there is a person that's going to take up your time, right? If you have a bunch of crap in there, it's like all the crap spam that people send in their email that someone now has to take the time to delete, right? So number one, I want you guys all to go to this website today. Go to unroll.me. I'm going to put this in here, and I'll tell you why. You will see in this, it will show you everything you're subscribed to, right? And then you'll realize how many things you never signed up for, right? And if you don't have clarity about the people that are in your database, what do you think the quality of that relationship will be? Right? If you're not clear onto the people and the standards that you have with the people in your database. People think databases, number two, the numbers don't mean shit. Excuse my language. They don't mean anything. People look at all these numbers, all these people. Hit the number if you know this, what the NAR statistic is. If you properly work your database and network, what percentage should refer you a deal? Does anybody know? Nobody. Interesting. 10%, right? So if you have 3,000 people, there's 300 deals in there, but we really don't have 3,000 people. Who really knows 3,000 people? Josh Muncie, who sits on all these local places, Josh might know legitimately hundreds and hundreds of people in his community, but he's shaking his head no, right? So remember, number two, the numbers don't mean shit. So when we talk about decluttering your CRM, let's start getting rid of all the waste, all the waste. Get rid of people. And again, that goes back to the first one. What's your standard? What's your clarity of someone being in your network, in your world, right? So like if we think about like client gifting and events and all this other stuff, People like, I'm like, well, why don't you do it? Well, I have so many people, it's going to cost me so much money. No, it's really not going to cost you so much money because those people all really don't count. But since you're looking at this massive number, you have this whole analysis paralysis, and then I don't want to spend money because you have no focus and clarity on the people that are there. Hit yes if that formula makes a little bit of sense to you. Got a couple thumbs up, right? So who's going to spend time doing this, right? Like, look, guys, I know that everyone that shows up here every single day is going to outwork everybody because we have more grit and we're willing to do the work. But number three, you guys have a strategy that nobody else has. I know that I'm not the only training source that people have in this community, and that's 100% okay. But I like to ask people, I'm like, is anyone else talking about looking at your business like a marathon? And they're like, no. I'm like, okay, good. So we're going to outthink everybody, right? So like, how do you start doing this, right? Decluttering. Instead of adding 5 people and tagging them, I want you guys to do 5 and 5, right? I want you to take 5 people and make sure that they're grouped and tagged the right way. But I also want you to start eliminating 5 people a day too, who you're never going to talk to, right? Like if you see somebody's name in your database and you're like, I don't know who that is. I wouldn't reach out to that person. What, like, if it's weird, why are weird people in your database? Stop sending spam. These people have never sent you anything. Nothing. Remember, guys, if you have 200 great people in your database that you know, even 100, let's start with 100, right? If you have 100 great people that you have very focused relationships with, that's 10% is 10 deals just from those people, right? So why, I'm going to unmute someone unmute yourself. Who has a cluttered database here that wants to share? Josh.
Yeah, I have over 8,000. And like, realistically, I don't see more than, 200 people or 300 people potentially referring me deals every year. And for me, it's been something that like I constantly kick down the road because it's rather than chip away at it here and there, it's like, how do I attack 8,000 contacts? I'm busy. And it's getting in the way of me using my CRM effectively.
7,700 people. So guys, who's heard of the law of compound effect? Right? Compound effect is just like compound interest. If you do 10 a day, that's 50 a week, 200 a month, right? At that rate, it'll take Josh like 80. Right? So look, this is a really good thing, and we could all thank Josh for doing this, right? We could do a hashtag we're all Joshes in here. And the sense is this, it is overwhelming, right? But the challenge, and I'll go back to what we talked about last Monday, is focus and clarity. If you realize by investing the time to do this, there's potentially 30 deals in there. How much time do you spend on shiny new pennies trying to get new business? All this stuff, and then when you look at your business, I know for most of you people here, 90% of it's already from people you know. Melissa Rubin, every morning I started my day by cleaning 200 names. It took me 10 months. Now my database is I wanted. Every day I did it, it was an accomplishment. The Clutter, look, we're all in the same thing. So look, like, they have all like these support groups in life. So, like reach out here and get your own CRM support group and sit in with a group of like 2 to 4 people, right? Like 4 people is a good number. And all of you guys make a commitment to show up there, spend an hour and have a CRM support group and get rid of all the shit, right? It's like if you go see someone and you want to diet, they're going to say, all right, we all have abs, right? But it's all this stuff on top of it that you can't see it. So you all have a good core business here, right? Start doing it. So number 3, right? It's like in good to great, it's like you got to be on the right bus, but you want to make sure there's people in the right seat, right? So we've talked about this, and I'll bring it back up again, is the lifetime value of a customer, right? If you fundamentally understand this concept, you will know where to focus your relationships, right? So part of decluttering is where you get rid of all the bad stuff, but then it's organizing what's here, right? So every time you sell somebody a house, make sure they're grouped and tagged the right way. And I'll use the metaphor like a closet, right? Groups are like shirts, pants, right? Dresses. And then within those, they're tags, right? Instead of shirts, they're like dress shirts, they're t-shirts, they're button-up shirts, right? There's all kinds of different shirts. So that's the difference between a group and a tag. So what I want you to do is for every person that buys real estate with you, obviously group them, obviously put them in the right group, right? Past client, tag them, right? Like kind of who they are in certain things. Number one, what should we tag? Number one, tag the geographic area where these people are, right? Start focusing on during the transaction, taking notes in your Compass CRM while you're out with the people and write down what some of their personal interests are. So you can send them stuff that they actually care about. Number three, start creating tags 0 to 25K, 25 to 26 to 50K, 51 to 75, 76 to 100, and 100 to 100 plus, right? And now, why do I want these numbers? Every time when they buy a house from you, they get a tag, right? Now, say Josh refers me someone else, right? Now, Josh has been my client for a year. He gets one tag. I'll use our business. Now, Josh refers Ken, right? Well, he referred Ken. Ken is worth X amount of dollars to us. Now there's another tag. Ken gets a tag. So if you're doing this, Josh now sent me 2 deals. I know the lifetime value of him so far is X. It's what I've gotten commissions from him plus what he's referred to me. So when the year goes along and you're trying to figure out how to give people stuff, because the idea of treating your entire database the same is crazy, right? So lifetime value of a customer, right? Understand this simple concept. Guys, you have to spend the time in doing this, right? How much time do you guys all waste a week on shiny pennies? How many people here have no lead gen problems, but are still spending time thinking about how I'm going to get more leads? Melissa has, I'll unmute Melissa and she can share this with everyone. Melissa, where are you? Melissa Rubin.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
I'm trying to, oh, you can hear me. Hi, sorry. So that's one of my favorite parts that I learned from Chirag. I have this fantastic spreadsheet that started with every referral, and every time somebody refers me, I add them and add what the value is. And every quarter, and then the new person becomes their own line, and then whoever they refer me, and then I give gifts quarterly. And I do gifts Florida related. I do gifts custom shirt related. I do foods that they might like, wines that are custom made for me in Oregon. And it's really fun and they're very appreciative, but it's fun for me.
So if you think about this, right, this is a smarter, more intuitive way to do relationships, right? Because look, if somebody sent you 4 clients, believe me, your clients know how much money you're making, right? Especially the higher end price points that you are. And if you're sending somebody like, you know, a Christmas card and a $20 bottle of wine, you're better off sending nothing, right? It's like, have you ever done a lot for somebody, AKA your vendors, who you need to all get more out of, but I won't go on that tangent today. And it's like at the end of the year, you sent them all this business and they send you like a shitty Christmas card. You're like, seriously? And some of them don't even send you a Christmas card, right? So look at the way that you treat your relationships. And number 4 is give back to these people, but understand who you need to give to, right? Real estate and the CRM and all this stuff is all about identifying patterns, right? Like I know in looking at the screen, there's certain people here for us that are just huge advocates, right? And we need to spend more time with those people, right? Because they're out advocating for us, sharing stuff with us. How can we get you more business? They're partners, right? You guys have people in your business that are partners too. But you need to identify, those are the people you need to be going to coffees and lunches and dinners with, right? There's human connection here. But if you have 8,000 people in your database, you can't do that. The quality of your relationships are sacrificed because of the quantity in your database, right? So if someone wants to be in the CRM support group, I'm going to give everyone a moment here. to put your name in the, Ryan, hold on. I'm going to unmute Ryan first. Ryan, I'm going to nominate some leaders first. Ryan, you want to lead a CRM support group?
Sure.
Okay. So 3 other people, if they're interested in doing this, put your name in and Ryan will connect you.
Yes, I will.
So pretty soon we'll have all this in an app for you guys. So does anyone, because all of you guys, Joanne Jones, Ryan, write that down. 1. Brian's mom will let him in the meeting. Okay, look, we have people. More. Wow.
Ryan's mom's in on it, guys. So everybody else needs to be.
All right. So Ryan and Michelle, I'm going to separate you guys into 2 different groups. Who wants to nominate themselves and lead the second group?
I could lead a group.
Who's that? Ken?
Ken, yeah.
Good. Ken picked the 3 names after. And if people's admins are on here, you guys are going to be part of the group with your principal, but you don't count as one of the 4 people. All right, guys. So we have 2 groups. Oh, there's more names coming. So who wants to volunteer for group number 3? Justin Martinez. Justin, your thing is tight. So Justin, grab 3 names from in here.
Okay.
That. I think we have more than 12. All right, so we'll have a 4th group, and this is where we'll cap it off. I feel like I'm an auctioneer today. This is kind of awesome. But what I want you guys to really pay attention to, and this is something really important, look at how many other people are in the same situation you are and want to be in a community of people all talking about the same things, right? And look, I can't say thank you to Rachel enough because she's the one that built all this for us, right? No Rachel, no community. So the app and all this stuff really is a huge credit to her and the work that she puts in. Make sure Carla Rizzo is on your thing, Justin. So look, we will
follow up with all of you guys and let you know what group you're in.
What's that?
I'll follow up with all of them to let them know what group they're in.
Oh, great.
Yeah, and if we need any more leaders, we'll pick one more, but that's 4 groups, right? So look, and now how's this structure going to work? You guys will all have a kickoff intro call where you'll all make a commitment. Your commitment will be a 4-day-a-week commitment. This is not, and if you're not willing to do this for 4 days a week and you can't block off the time, I'm going to tell the principals there's a one-time no show up thing, but if you have people in your group that have excuses and I have a meeting and they can't prioritize them, listen to me very carefully. Please kick them out. You have to show up, right? Like there's like real accountability of this, right? So number 1, it's clarity and focus. Number 2 is, Michelle, is that the numbers don't mean shit, right? Number 3 is understand the lifetime value of a customer. Number 4 is start having smarter relationships, right? I know in doing this with Angela, we identified there were some clients that center the lifetime value of one client before a transaction was done was over $100,000. The guy bought like a $6 million house, referred his friend that was buying a house like this. It's like, holy Jesus, right? Like we need to send him like a $300 bottle of Cristal. But this is how you build these relationships, right? But like, if you look at it, right, a transaction is more than words, right? And when you build these kind of relationships, now you start to become part of people's lives, right? Like if you're having coffee and you're sending them a gift and everything like that, in human nature, that's called a relationship, right? And that's very normal to people. They understand what that all is. But if it's like 2 people that were in a defined relationship and then it goes to an undefined relationship, it's weird. And that's what happens after people buy and sell a house with you. It's not defined. And that's why there's all this clutter. You don't know what they are. So here's what I want you guys to do. Before the relationship is over, have the conversation. I'd say, hey, David, I really appreciate you, not only choosing me or giving me the opportunity to help your family find a home, but really sharing so much about you and your family. And David's going to say, no, it's been great. And this is where you just listen. And you're going to say, David, would it be okay if we continue to stay in touch? Once a month, we like to share like what's going on in the community, learn about the things that are important to you, and just stay connected.
And I'd say something like, yeah, I was kind of wondering what would happen to us after the sale is made. And I kind of felt like I could use your help at some point, but didn't know when that would happen. And I wasn't sure if I could ask for that or not.
You hear what he said? That's where everybody is. They don't know. And this is where loyalty comes from, right? I have a contractor that is from Westchester. And when we did work in our house, I said, I don't care how much money more I have to pay to be here. You're the only person we want to work with. I feel guilty working with somebody else because how well he stayed in touch with me, right? He calls, he asks about our kids. And like the last time the guy did work for us was probably 3 or 4 years ago. But my kids, when they see him, they run up and give him a hug, right? He's not someone they see all the time, but he's built out that relationship, right? Becky, number 3 was understand the lifetime value of your customers and start keeping track of it. So look, this is the most valuable asset that you have. And for all of you that eventually want to sell your business one day, you need to understand if you have no information about people in your database, there's nothing anybody can buy. 0. What are you buying? You don't have a business, you have something that lives and dies with your heartbeat. Or as Mike Cassetta said on his interview, it's called Me, Myself, and Incorporated. And he goes, it's not a place where any of us want to be. Right? So look, I wanted to keep this simple. I wanted to make sure that this was focused. I wanted to make sure that we all got in groups, right? There's 66 people here today. So 12 of us, or maybe 16 of us are going to be in groups. So that leaves about 40 plus people that are going to do this on their own. You have to invest time into doing this, right? And when people say, where do I find the time? I go, it's really simple. It's called wake up early, stay late, figure it out. If you want it bad enough, you'll get it done. Melissa did it over 10 months. So if she was doing 200 contacts a day, Melissa, how many people were in this database when you started before you cleaned it up?
There was 10,000 and I got rid of about 2,500 names. And then I grouped everybody the way they're supposed to be grouped. It was painful, but worth it now.
So look, the other thing is write down this question. What is the standard of someone to be in your database in your community? If you don't have a value to your community and like what you're giving people, then you're not going to care who's there, right? What difference does it make? I spam people with my newsletter. I just put them on and send them my newsletter. Why? And just because people open things don't mean they read it, right? I have to open all these emails to delete them. Open rates don't mean anything. Click-through rates do. Right? So you don't want people looking at you as that annoying realtor. And this is why people don't like real estate agents. Just sending them crap. And if you're in the market with like 5 other people, they might be getting the same crap from 5 people. How does that make everybody look? So guys, get really focused, right? If you put a date, if you get an open house and you're using the app and you get 15 leads, right? Create that triggered sequence, but understand that tag them as an open house lead. And if they haven't engaged with you in 90 days or 6 months, right? Get rid of them. Delete. Right? Like if you create a custom action plan, you can create tasks and reminders. After 6 months, say delete them if they don't engage with you. It could be 6 months, it could be a year, depending on how you do your trip. Right? But if you're not thinking through your business and obsessing like this, you're missing out. Jody had a question. Can we have a place on the new site where people can suggest great gifts, ideas, and companies? Rachel?
Yeah, I said yes in the box. Yes, we can definitely do that.
So we have a couple minutes left. Do you want to give them an idea of like how the community boards and everything are going to work?
I think that's probably better saved for a future session where I can walk them through and show some visuals.
All right, cool. So once we have a preview, guys, Rachel will start showing you guys. But you know, when this is done, while we're all here, we're gonna have a lot of onboarding sessions, like open like support calls. because we're literally all moving. It's like moving houses, right? Everything that we have in one house in all these places is now going to be in a new home. And we want to make sure this is effortless for you guys. But again, it will involve some participation, and no, we can't manually do it all for you guys, right? So that's what's next. So look, please, please, please reach out to your support group. Understand that there's a standard for people to be in your database. Understand that all these numbers don't mean you have a great network and you're going to make a lot of money. Number 3, understand the lifetime value of your customer. And number 4, double down on the relationships that are most important, right? And that's how you declutter your life, is by being focused, right? If you have all these things like we always do, we're all going to be unfocused, right? Without focus and clarity equals move fast. But if you don't have those 2 things, it's just not going to work. So how many people think there are lots of rejects in their database? Right? And Greg, for you, my friend, on a commercial end, you just want to have very, like, for you, grouping and tagging people, you know, you want to start grouping them by the asset class. Like, what are they really interested in, and price points. So like, if you get a great off-market deal, which you're really good at finding, you could say, okay, like, I could look at people that are in this price range and then have this tag. And then the people that could match the properties will show up for you, right? If not for you, there's just a bunch of names, right? And it's like, well, who likes what? So guys, get very strategic with this. Sounds good? All right, guys, happy Monday. Have a great day. We will see you tomorrow for some live coaching, objection handling, and what's most relevant in your market. Adios.
Thanks, Chirag.
Bye, guys.